Hi, I'm here with exactly what you've been looking for, which is me, or my fifth tactics video, whichever you came for. Maybe both. So, if you haven't seen the previous ones, well, I sure recommend you check those out. They're pretty interesting. Um, right now, I am at puzzles rating 1600 on this account. And I'm just going to walk you through the steps to puzzle mastery, one by one. And let's check out these 1600 rated puzzles, see what they have to offer us. So, I recommend first just getting a general idea of what's happening in the position. So, the first thing I notice when I'm looking about this, and looking at the whole board, my king is rather safe. There's no clear inroads for the black pieces. There's only two around there. Meanwhile, black's king, it is a little bit weaker. Why? Well, there's two pretty well coordinated pieces. You know, there's this and this coordinated, and there's another avenue for a piece to join the attack here. And I also do notice that if you look at the material balance, which, okay, sure, you could get it without even noticing this, but black is up a piece and a few pawns. Oh my goodness, we're way down in material, right? So we actually know that it's going to be something major happening. No pun intended. We could be taking a major piece, but no, I don't think that any of these are particularly loose. So we're going for checkmate. That's all I can tell you right now. Now, I really like this idea here, because now I'm already starting to think a bit concretely. Because if the king goes here, well, this is quite a common mating pattern. Yes, just the queen defended by a piece. Nowhere for the king to go. But the real question is, what if the rook comes with check and the king goes, oops, not there, that's illegal. What if the king goes there? Then, is there still a checkmate? Well, I don't see one in one move. But what if we try setting one up? For example, if we could actually get our queen here, once the king is on c8, that would be crushing. Or not even crushing, just that would be game over, yes? So I'm thinking about how could we set that up? And is there a way in doing so that black would have no way of stopping that? Now, one thing I'm looking at is rook g7, king c8. What if queen takes a7? Well, black would have one check here. Our king could go. And then, actually, I think quite annoying is bishop f4, right? Covering the c7 square. Because now we could try queen b7. The king goes here. And there's queen e7. The king just goes right back. There's queen e6. The king goes here, back to d8. But anyway, there's not really a checkmate there. It would end up being a draw at best. So I'm going to evaluate some other options. Now, it may be that a draw is the best, but before I come to that conclusion, I really want to make sure that is true. So rook g7, king c8. Honestly, I'm pretty sure rook g7 is the correct first move, because nothing else makes sense immediately. I mean, our rook is even threatened. We cannot dilly-dally, or we would lose even more material. So rook g7, king c8. What are some other mating opportunities? Well, there's knight takes c6, right? I suppose with the threat of, say, knight takes a7, king goes here. No, it's not even clear that's threatening a mate, right? This knight here is doing a very good job defending d7. So I think actually, I hate to say it, but the draw is the best we have here. So we'll go here. And then actually, Okay, last check to see if there's something I'm missing. I think we'll have to settle for a draw and end up getting a perpetual, say, like, on b7 and e7. Yep, and this is the only move. Oh, what? Hold on, I thought... Okay, I will take that. That is really confusing. Wait. Am I missing something, or is there no checkmate after bishop f4? So this queen b7, king d8, possibly queen takes b6. Oh, hold on. Oh, I see it. Okay, bishop f4, queen b7, king d8, knight takes c6. Because if the king goes... Oh, you know, I can open it in analysis board now. So what I'm saying is, if the move I was expecting here, we actually do have a win. So we don't have to settle for a draw. Here, here, here. And if king e8, there's queen e7. If the knight takes, this mate. Okay. I think that was quite instructive, though, because often, especially during a game, right, especially if you're down material, as in this case, you want to keep the draw in your pocket. Because let's be honest, we're not computers, unless you are. We'll have to talk about that another time. We will miss some things. And it's very useful if you can see that you at least have a draw. Right? I mean, especially down material here, white would be even satisfied with just having to repeat with queen b7, queen e7. But there's still some chances that you would play some moves and then you'd end up finding a win later on with this setup. So knowing that you have a perpetual going into a line, it gives you a cushion for being able to play that move without having it be like if you missed one thing, you're just easily losing. No, you at least have a draw there. So yeah, that was a tough one. Very good puzzle. Let's do the next one. All right, so this one is quite different from the last one in that the first thing I notice is, I mean, both kings are incredibly safe right now. Like full pawn shields in front of it, and neither side has a particularly offensive post towards the king. No checkmate threats. In fact, I mean, this is a very shallow way of viewing it, but I think it's quite useful to notice. White and black each only have one piece that have passed the halfway point, just to give you a picture of how safe the kings are right now. So it's really going to be about the pieces. Now, of course, one thing to notice immediately is that this threatened. So we could deal with that, or if you notice, this is also being threatened, right, by our knight. So it's already a pretty complicated situation because, I mean, how often is it that both queens are hanging? Now, one common way to resolve these is to eliminate the piece that's threatening your queen, and then your opponent would have to deal with the threat on their queen. However, in this case, actually, if we eliminate this right away, the queen gets to move while capturing back. So we didn't really gain anything out of that unless there's something concrete here. Now I would check bishop e3, right? It's a skewer, right? And the important question is, after the skewer, can the queen that's on d4 go anywhere that still defends the bishop? And yes, there are two options, d6 or b6. If the queen goes to b4 and d6. I might have switched the letters. I'm sorry. They're similar. If queen to b4, a3 hits the queen, and then there's nowhere to go to defend the bishop. However, if the queen goes to d6, there is still this knight move, knight e4. And that would hit both the queen and the bishop. And then you have to look at, wait, what if after knight e4 the queen goes here? Because now that our knight has moved, the bishop is a loose piece. But then we can actually take the bishop and actually threaten the queen and the knight. So even though black's queen takes our bishop, we get to take the knight. So ultimately we do win one piece. Here's how that goes. Trade, fork, another fork. Yeah, so that one, yeah, a lot easier than the first one. Just piece play, noticing the loose pieces. Really, you should think first about what the targets of the tactics are going to be. In this case, the loose minor pieces, or even the queen, right? So in terms of targets, the targets were the queen, the knight, this one, all kind of not thoroughly defended. And then the execution of that is just the different tricks you have in your toolbox, right? The forks, the pins, the spoons, the skewers, the deflections. But yeah, it's important first to notice what you're going to be aiming at. Okay, let's do a couple more of these. Okay, this is going to be another checkmate one. Now I say that right off the bat because, I mean, this king has nothing around it, and we have 3 major pieces. These major pieces, or the long-range pieces in general actually, do very well against a king that has little shelter, or no shelter, as in this case. Now we do have to act quickly. We would rarely have time for a non-check move, because if we wait, this queen takes b2 and we're getting checkmated. So, urgency is of the urgency. Now, I mean, it's great first to look at forcing moves in whichever case, because if a forcing move works, great, you can win the game. And if it doesn't work, okay, no problem. They're pretty easy to calculate. But in this case especially, if we don't do a forcing move, I mean, actually just a check, not even, we don't really have, okay, there's this capture available, kind of forcing, but really, if we don't do a check, we can be checkmated right now. Oh, and by the way, there's this checkmate threat too. So you couldn't even do the capture because, yeah, this one falls with mate. Oh no. So we have to do a check. Okay, that's important to understand. Now, what checks are there? First, I'd like to look at the checks that do not immediately drop material. I mean, if you can achieve something, well, with checkmate, it really doesn't matter. If you can achieve something without sacrificing a piece, anything for it, just do it and you're winning easily. There's no need to get all fancy and look at the sacrifices first. So what are the non-sacrificial checks? This and this. For some reason, I think, let's start with Queen A8. No reason why. Queen A8, okay, if the king moves, then we do have a checkmate here. Notice our rook totally cuts off the king on the e file. So that means that Queen A8, the only plausible move now is Rook B8 to block that check. And now what? Let's not give up there. It still looks pretty promising, I think. What could we do from there? I mean, we could insert this check, and yeah, it could be a lot about the move order. It doesn't matter if we do Rook D6 or Queen A8 first. Let's have a think about that. I think Queen A8, Rook B8, Rook D6. What if this rook simply blocks? That doesn't look like anything for white. So what if we do this check first? Well, then actually there's still the rook blocking here. And if we do this, it just transposes to the previous line we looked at. So the order of Queen A8 or Rook D6 doesn't seem to matter. In actual fact, it seems that we will have to do some sort of sacrificial check. Otherwise, things just are not seeming to work out for us. So where to begin about that? Well, I'd consider forcing the king over here. But what good does that do? I mean, we get this check. No, there's nothing after that. Okay, perhaps I brushed off the other options too quickly. perhaps I'm just missing something. Oh, okay. I see one idea is like queen a8, rook b8. What if we go rook c8? That at least forces the rook to c8. After which we do have the option of rook e8. Then king takes e8, queen takes c8, king e7. What's the knockout here? This looks very promising for some reason. I mean, we get queen e6, king f8. I mean, honestly, it looks like a perpetual at best from that point. I mean, maybe that is what we're looking for. Oh, perhaps actually rook d6 first with the point of keeping the queen on the 7th rank. So rook d6, rook f d7. Now what if we take? Well, then the rook takes, and now queen a8, king c7 forced. And is there something big here? I mean, we have rook e8. That's not super convincing to me. I'm not sure if rook e8 would win there. Alright. Oh, okay, here's another idea. I don't know why I gave up on this, but queen a8, yeah, rook b8, rook d6. I think I said earlier that rook d7 was a problem, but no, it's not, because we just trade. And then queen c6, right? And after king d8, we just have a checkmate down here, which means I have to revise that what I said, because queen a8, rook b8, rook d6, rook d7 is not working. So what else can black do? Well, the only other options are to move the king here or here. Now, if king c7, queen c6 is going to be mate. So not king c7. King c8, oh, queen c6, rook c7, rook e8 is mate. Okay, so I had gone over the solution the whole time. I just gave up too easily. Yeah, sometimes it is just a matter of looking a little bit more. Not giving up too soon on a continuation that looks a little promising. Sometimes all it takes is just calculating a little bit further. So what was that? That was here first, here. Oh, that one. Okay, so we take, boom, yeah, and then this was next. Okay. How many more do we have? 1 or 2? I don't remember. So this one is so simple. It's ridiculous. I don't know why these, I don't know, the 1600s level, maybe I'm just weird, but I think there's quite inconsistency in terms of the difficulty. King. These are the pieces involved. Think about the captures here, right? That's already immediately the juicy point. And also back ranks, right? The pawns are all nicely lined up for us here for a rook to land, right? That's going to happen at some point. Now, if we take with the bishop and the rook takes, rook e1, rook f1, and we take, and that's a win. But notice this, bishop takes f2. What if the king just goes to the corner? Well, actually, we're in trouble, right? We can't be slow like that. We actually have to force the rook to take us. Queen takes, and if rook takes, well, white's rook will actually still be pinned by our bishop. So that's immediately checkmate. Queen takes, what if the king just ignores it? Well, you can't really ignore that. We just take the rook and checkmate. So it's just a very simple mate in 2. Easy. Why were the last ones so hard? Okay, and this one is another easy one. So these are the pieces involved. Simply, white has many pieces, right? I mean, as many pieces as we do, just a couple more pawns. But these are all so far from the action, and they're not going to do anything. That's why we have such checkmating possibilities available without white interfering, because they're all blocked off. They're not doing anything. So you might be tempted by this check, but no, there's no following and continuation after that. But notice the knight here covers these important squares that the king might try to go to in the future. Well, we kind of have a, I guess you could call it a back rank mate, but if you made it vertical. I know, pretty quirky. I mean, often this is seen with a queen sacrifice. It's called the Anastasia's checkmate. So you take this pawn, and then you come here, and yeah, it's like a 90-degree rotation of a back rank checkmate. Yes, like the king's own pawn getting in the way, and you just get the rook here. Okay, but I believe that was it for today. Yep. No puzzle rush today. Those puzzles were too intense. At least we got them all right, but I think that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed me struggling with those. And, well, stay tuned for the 1700s. That was a great century, or not a century, but it will be a great series of tactics. It will be, watching that will be way better than living in the 1700s. Yeah, see ya.